Here are the results to the NBA draft lottery. Pelicans out of nowhere get 6% chance of getting 1, and they get 1. Grizzlies up to 2. Knicks at 3. Lakers move way up to get 4. And you see the rest of it with Cavs and the Suns dropping to 5th and 6th, respectively. Bill Pito, Swin Cash, Wally Zerbeck. A reminder, the MSG 150 right here on MSG Network, Monday through Thursday night from 8 to 10:30 p.m. Obviously, a huge show tonight. Patrick Ewing representing the Knicks in Chicago. His reaction after the lottery to the Knicks getting number 3 overall.
So I was still hoping that we were going to get the number 1 pick, but 3 is very good. I think I'm proud, and whoever we draft, I'm proud. I know they're going to be happy and proud to be a New York Knick.
What's your heart pounding up there?
No need to pound. No need to be nervous. The cards was in the hand. I just sat back and was hoping that it was going to be number 1.
Patrick, you know the talent at the top in the college basketball. Are the Knicks capable of getting a very special player at 3rd pick of the draft?
I think so. You look at all the guys that are in this room. They're all very good talent. They all have great abilities, and whoever we pick is going to be somebody that's going to help to rebuild the franchise.
All right, the reaction of Patrick Ewing in Chicago to the draft lottery. And I've been thinking about this. You get some time here for the whole thing to marinate a little bit.
Yeah.
You look at New Orleans and Memphis, I think there's going to be a trade. I really
think they're going to trade the number 1 pick, New Orleans?
I'm just saying, look, maybe Davis gets moved or maybe Memphis trades down. I think because you have Conley there with Memphis and you have Anthony Davis and his situation with New Orleans, and he's only got 1 year left on his contract. I bet you
there could be a lot of movement.
I think there's going to be a trade.
Yeah.
And who knows how that might impact the Knicks.
Yeah. It depends on what your scouts view. I wouldn't be trading the number 1 pick. I would be drafting Zion, even if the Knicks
but they may not trade the number 1 pick, Wally, but now might be the time that Anthony Davis gets moved.
Yeah. Well, and believe me, when Anthony Davis gets moved, then the Pelicans become a big-time destination again. And the problem with Anthony Davis in New Orleans is he just felt like nobody wanted to come play there, and it's tough to attract free agents. But now if you put Anthony Davis and Zion together on the floor together, if I'm a free agent, I'm looking at someone like the Pelicans, honestly. That team becomes a big-time impact team with a lot of buzz around it because Zion's going to bring the buzz and Anthony Davis is going to bring a future Hall of Famer. So that franchise is in a really good spot right now, but so are the Grizzlies with the number 2 pick, and the Knicks got number 3, and you're going to get a big impact player, and the Knicks have a ton of free agency and cap space where they can add 2 impact max free agents, and we're hearing good news about what's going to happen with that, and we'll see what happens with that. So, those 3 teams are all in a good spot. If I'm Cleveland or Phoenix, I'm kind of bummed because you had one of the worst records in the league, top 3 worst in the league, and you fell to, 5th and 6th?
Yeah.
So, those 2 teams fell pretty far, and they got to be bummed because they're not getting the type of player that the Knicks are getting at 3, in my opinion, by falling that far down.
All right, let's now bring in Ed Cohen. He's the radio play-by-play voice of the New York Knicks. He joins us via the video call center. And Ed, we're very concerned that you continue to violate the facial hair policy here on the MSG 150. I mean, last week you came on here with a beard. We told you that you might want to shave that, and you're not following directions.
Bill, lottery beard, top 3 picks. So it didn't bring Zion, but I think it worked to an extent. What do you think about that?
I like it. I'm with you. This is casual here at MSG 150. We should all be growing beards. Let's go, Bill.
I can't.
There you go.
I can't do it. I've tried. It doesn't work.
And we know Swin can't.
Definitely not.
Ed, your reaction to number 3 overall here?
Yeah, Bill, I think the big thing coming into this draft is obviously you'd love to land Zion Williamson, and the odds with the new rules weren't with the Knicks this year. But the fact of the matter is, the fear going into the draft was that there weren't a lot of great players beyond the top 3. And we know about Zion and John Moran and, of course, R.J. Barrett. And then all of a sudden that envelope comes up at 5, and you say, okay, can the Knicks at least get into the top 4? Once Cleveland was turned around and you had 3 other teams that moved into the top 4, and you knew the Knicks at least crossed that hurdle, that was a good thing. So you're guaranteed a really good player. And if you don't take R.J. Barrett, or if John Morant's not there, you can at least control where you want to go. You can make the pick you want. So 3, it's not 1 or 2, but it gives the Knicks a great option.
Yeah, Ed, and one of the things that I liked, I think you said it best, is like once you got over that threshold and you didn't get 5, I think you're excited if you're the Knicks. So even if you got 1, 2, 3, or 4, you know that you're going to get a really good player. Now, for me at 3, do you see any possibility that the Knicks possibly could look at a trade, or there's something that's out there possibly dealing with scouting where another team may have a want or a need at 3 and the Knicks are willing to play ball a little bit? Is that a potential?
Swin, obviously there was a lot today about, okay, Knicks have a top 3 pick. What about New Orleans? That conversation's now shifted. So it'll be interesting to see if there are other suitors and how much command and how much value teams feel that they're willing to give up to get to number 3. But I think the Knicks are going to address a big need with this pick. If Ja Morant's still there, you've got a great point guard, speed, athleticism, everything else. And if RJ Barrett's there, the one thing last year, among many, but something that I thought was a glaring concern was a great forward and depth at the position. You can address that with RJ Barrett.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy. I'm just thinking, Ed, possibly if Anthony Davis really wants to get out of New Orleans, possibility is maybe the 3rd pick is a chip for the Knicks to possibly acquire Anthony Davis because R.J. Barrett played with Zion Williamson. So maybe the Pelicans would want to go with a guy like Zion at 1, trade for R.J. Barrett, team those guys up. What do you think? And the Knicks might end up with a guy like Anthony Davis.
It's great. That's a great point, Wally. I think that the big thing is the conversation for New Orleans with David Griffin. He has to have that next conversation with Anthony Davis. We have the number 1 pick. How interested are you in staying? Is it going to be a wild ride next year leading up to the summer of 2020, or is there real interest? If there's not, and he can make a move, and David Griffin's made a lot of big moves over the years, then maybe that shifts before this year's draft. If not, and he feels that this is a great way to have Anthony Davis potentially in the mix, then that conversation gets delayed and dragged on over the course of next year, which is really crazy to think because we've been through enough already in the NBA. It could be even more wild with Davis at least next year.
Always the wild, wild west. Ed, what did you see? Let's take talent off the board as far as drafting. What's a need that you thought that the Knicks could address possibly that could help a little bit with this draft?
So when they have to get better shooters, they need guys that they can rely on late in games, and they need to be able to space the floor far better than they did this year and in recent years too. And obviously we saw once Tim Hardaway Jr. was traded, there really wasn't that guy they could count on consistently to make shots and more specifically to make threes. So is RJ Barrett that guy right now? Maybe not the guy, but I think he begins to help you in that area. And if they can start there, they'll have to address their future at the point guard position, and they need more depth without question. That could also be addressed in free agency, but I think you at least check a big box off with this 3rd pick.
Now, Ed, I was a proponent where if you get the number 1 pick and you get Zion, then the free agents are going to be lining up at the door to come to Madison Square Garden. Do you think the fact that the Knicks got 3, which, like you said, is still going to get a very good player, how do you think that's going to impact the Knicks luring free agents to the world's most famous arena?
It's a good question, Wally. It's so hard to know who guys want to play with. I think that was before the Kristaps Porzingis trade. That was the big mystery. To what degree was it important to players, free agents, to play with Porzingis? No one really will ever know that question. How important is it for guys to see that there are pieces in place, young pieces, guys that the Knicks can build around and get over the top with when you bring in a few really big free agent guys? And we know how big this class is. So that's probably the toughest question, to know the mindset of these guys. But the hope is you see Kevin Knox and Mitchell Robinson and some of the Knicks' other young players, and they're going to land potentially a great point guard or a great forward. I think that only helps matters. I mean, this could be in the 4th or the 5th pick with a ton of mystery, and now you have at least number 3, and you have a sense of who's going to go there.
Ed, thanks so much, and please shave prior to your next appearance.
I think you look great, Ed.
I have no choice now.
You're good, Ed. You're good, Ed.
Thanks, pal. Talk to you soon. For more great videos from the MSG 150, check out right there. And remember, our show is on Monday through Thursday, 8 to 10:30 p.m. on MSG Network and MSG Go.